Max has changed some lines, like this one or whatever. It wasn't checking this enchantment thing right, and it would have said Max Man, and I could have tracked it down, but no, it looks like this file is all me, and it's the only person I can go into with my defeat. But anyway, blame people. Great. No praising, only blaming. I actually think there is a less negative version of blame that does the same thing, but use blame. Okay. Cover, go ahead and cover. Showing you examples of things, we've given you summaries. I'm sure your mouths are watering already. I want to give a little bit of a demo because the sprint tournament is coming up so soon. Sprint tournament submission deadline is Monday, so this is how you would submit. So if you haven't submitted already, you right-click on the robot that you want to submit, and you go to export. And I think the instructions for this are online. Yeah, we're going to switch to my computer. My goodness, that makes a lot of sense. So here we are. I'm going to right-click on the robot that I want, the robot player that I want to submit. This is the package. I export, archive file, and I have to name it my team. So I need to actually change the package name to team, and then my team number in 3 digits. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And then I'll just export it to an archive file. This would export it to the desktop. And then later, I can go on to battle code, and I can say, all right, upload my player. And I'll be able to choose the jar file from the desktop where I've got it. And I can give it my own name, and then I can submit it, and it'll tell me whether it was compiled and went successfully. So that's a complete introduction, entirely complete explanation of Git, everything you ever needed to know, except for the things that we're going to go over in lab. Aaron's shaking his head. There's a lot to learn, and it only makes your life easier. It only helps, except when it doesn't. So with that, the next lecture is going to be on Swarm, and I'll also cover some topics in debugging. So you're going to watch like robots dancing around in very mellifluous, is that the right word? Well, they're going to dance in fancy ways, fancy dance, and that'll take care of it. So thank you for coming to this lecture. I hope you enjoy the Thai food, and I'll see you tomorrow.
The following content is provided under a Creative Commons license. Your support will help MIT OpenCourseWare continue to offer high-quality educational resources for free. To make a donation or to view additional materials from hundreds of MIT courses, visit MIT OpenCourseWare at ocw.mit.edu. Support will help MIT OpenCourseWare continue to offer high-quality educational resources for free. To make a donation or to view additional materials from hundreds of MIT courses, visit MIT OpenCourseWare at ocw.mit.edu.
So I'll be sitting down here and showing you a whole lot of really cool videos on YouTube and Battlecode players that I've programmed especially for tonight. So here we go. What's the point here? The point here is to talk about the things that have been done before in Swarm and thinking about Swarm. So let's go straight to a YouTube video and look at this animation. So you can see here there will be these birds that are following the green blob, and they avoid the red blob. And what they're trying to do is match one another's direction, try to get a certain distance from the other birds, and try to avoid obstacles. And so you can see how the combination of a few simple rules can create a behavior that's sort of complicated looking, or a behavior that's somewhat fluid. Whereas if you had like manually tried to get them all to go in the same direction, it might have looked somewhat more rigid, and it might not have been able to handle things like obstacles. So let's look at another video of how this is done in nature. And this is a massive number of birds. I think in the video description it says this is 300,000 birds. Wow. And it's so pretty how it undulates and smushes around. Here's another view of the same thing. I think they'll all take off in the distance. Look at how pretty that is. And you know, they all sort of do it at once, but there's certainly nobody in control. What a pretty, you gotta love pictures of nature in the evening in a lecture hall. We're about as far from nature as people can get. My goodness. That's so pleasing. When are they going to show the birds? I'm referring to the birds that aren't in the water. The birds in the air. Yeah. So what we want to do today is just talk about the things that are recognized as elements of swarm behavior. And then we'll show how, like, our robots can do much better than the enemy robots if we do it right. Look at this. It's almost like two separate swarms in certain areas. And it's an interesting problem to say, like, at what point is it possible to split into two swarms? Because maybe one of them got too far from the other, or maybe it's just too gosh darn big, or maybe, you know, one half of them are Democrats, the other half Republicans. Like, there are a lot of reasons that they might want to split into parts. So we'll talk about that too. Next, we'll talk about crowds. I mean, this is a thing that you deal with every day when you go to eat Battletoad lecture dinner. Like, you come up here, and there's, like, people trying to get to food, and I guess the food is there. No, this is a bad example, because these guys are just going to, like, walk through one another. The goal is, like, trying to get them to anticipate, you know, who isn't going to be in the way and to form lanes. That was the problem that these guys were trying to address. And I guess nowadays it's becoming popular to post your, like, thesis material online and to animate it in 3D. I don't see why this is animated in 3D. You could just show the same thing with, like, a two-dimensional map. Now here you're going to see, like, ripple forms, and that's, like, the expectation path. And so a small perturbation in the position of someone is amplified into, like, avoid this lane. And here he shows it again with some lines. He does it with more people because, you know, every computer scientist knows that more is better, especially when it comes to simulation. And so he's got, like, he shows, like, a bunch of them, and how these guys are going up there, and those guys are doing down there, and they sort of make this vortex. And I think, oh yeah, I remember, this is really silly. At the end of this video, you're not going to see it coming at all. Like, you're thinking, all right, where can he go from here? He can show, like, so there's their model, and there's some alternative models showing that their model is, like, a lot better because people aren't bunching up. So there's these high ES, low, and high distance models, which basically, you know, the guys are just avoiding one another. But in their model, they're sort of creating a density field for expected position. They have, like, I think this is supposed to be simulating, like, armies. I guess they want a job at Pixar or whatever. And so they just sort of put this one in here. They're like, oh, look at how realistic your armies will look if people at the back move 10 times as fast. And then, like, another army is over here. Just like I said, you know, these computer science people like nothing more than to have a lot of things. I once saw a simulation. It was, oh, this is crazy. It was a simulation of, like, neutronics. So this is, like, a college campus. I mean, you can really tell that, you know, where this guy's coming from. Movies, campus, and it's like people are coming from certain doors and going to others. And I think the next shot will show the paths of these people, showing that they're not, like, bumping into each other that much, and that they're kind of straighted paths, which is supposed to be very impressive. But back to my other story, I was watching, like, a neutronic simulation that had, like, 2 billion particles in it that were all in, like, a lattice. Okay, I'm going to pause this here when they get to the city. I mean, my goodness, how more complete do you need? Once you've seen it, you've kind of seen it. But anyway, this 2 billion particle lattice, which took, like, 10 hours on a giant supercomputer to do this, like, simulation of damage from radiation, from, like, high-energy particle radiation. And the final result of this massive simulation that I saw was, like, it was to show that, like, this one